Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is the 10th lecture of a series of video lectures of 10th grade biology. In previous 3 lectures, we have been discussing coordination and control, and in this video, we will discuss receptors in humans. Receptors are the sense organs which detect the stimuli. There are 5 sense organs corresponding to the 5 senses. We are provided with 2 eyes, just like other mammals. Our eyes are the organs for the sense of sight. Eyelids protect the eyes. Every time when we blink, tears spread over the surface of the eye. Our eyes are located in small portions of skull known as the orbits or eye sockets, as is seen here. Eyeballs are not fixed in the orbit but are attached to the socket through the rectus muscles. These red colored stripes are the rectus muscles. It is because of these muscles that eyes can be rotated in all directions. You can do it yourself. Here in the front view of eye, you can see the tear glands that release tears. Eyelids wipe eyes and prevent dehydration. They spread tears on eyes which contain substances for fighting bacterial infections. Eyelashes prevent fine particles from entering the eye. Let's study the internal structure of eye. It can be divided into 3 main layers, that is sclera or sclerotic coat, this one, choroid, the middle one, and the innermost layer is retina. We will discuss these layers one by one. The outer layer of eyeball consists of sclera and cornea. Sclera gives eye most of its white color. It consists of dense connective tissue and protects the inner components of eye and maintains its shape. In the front, sclera forms the transparent cornea, which is shown green over here. Cornea admits the light to the interior of the eye and bends light rays so that they can be brought to a focus. The middle layer is called choroid. It contains blood vessels and is pigmented black, and it gives the inner eye a dark color. The dark color prevents disruptive reflections within the eye. Behind cornea, the choroid bends to form a muscular ring called iris. There is a hole in the center in the middle of the iris, and this hole is known as pupil. After striking the cornea, light passes through the pupil, and size of the pupil is adjusted by the muscles of iris to control the amount of light entering the eye. Behind the iris there is a convex lens which focuses light on retina. Lens is attached to ciliary muscles of eye via a ring of suspensory ligaments. The iris divides the cavity of eye into 2 chambers. The anterior chamber is in front of the iris, that is between cornea and iris, whereas the posterior chamber is between iris and retina. The anterior chamber contains a jelly-like fluid known as aqueous humor, while the posterior chamber contains vitreous humor. It helps maintain the shape of the eye and suspends the delicate lens. The inner layer is sensory and is known as retina. It contains the photosensitive cells called rods and cones and associated neurons. Retina has 2 points, that is fovea and optic disc. Fovea is a dip in retina directly opposite to the lens and is densely packed with cone cells. It is largely responsible for color vision and sharpness. Optic disc is a point on retina where the optic nerve enters the retina. There are no rods and cones and no images formed. That's why it is known as a blind spot. So let's see what rods and cones are. Rods and cones are specialized receptor cells in retina which convert light into nerve impulses, and these nerve impulses are then carried to brain through optic nerve. Rod cells work well in dim light but cannot distinguish between different light wavelengths, that means the colors. So the brain interprets an image produced by the rods in monochrome or black and white. This is why you have poor color vision in the dark and you see objects in various shades of gray. The cones only work in bright light. There are 3 types of cones responding to 3 colors of light: red, green, and blue. Our color vision is the result of these three types of cones being stimulated to different degrees. For example, green light produces maximum stimulation of green cones and less stimulation of red and blue cones, whereas the red light maximally stimulates red cones. White light stimulates all cones equally. Both rods and cones are found throughout the retina, but cones are especially concentrated in an area in the middle of retina that is known as fovea. Cones produce a sharper image than rods, so it is only when we look directly at an object that the light falls on the fovea and we will see it clearly. The image formed on retina is inverted, real, and diminished. This information is carried to optic center of brain through the optic nerve, and this optic center corrects this image and gives you the real perception. The eye has evolved a mechanism to ensure that the amount of light entering the eye can be adjusted. Bright light can damage the light sensitive cells in retina, and this is done by making the pupil constricted, means its diameter gets small in bright light. But a small or constricted pupil would be useless for vision in low light intensities, as then not enough light would get into the retina and vision would be very poor. So in dim light or low light intensities, the pupil is dilated or enlarged to allow maximum amount of light into the eye. Here you can see how quickly this change in the pupil size is brought about. By the way, are you able to relate this to reflex action? Yes, it is an example of reflex action because it is not controlled by you, by your will. It's not under your conscious control. Even you are not aware what is the size of your pupil. The size of the pupil is controlled by the muscles in the iris. Iris has two sets of antagonistic muscles that can contract or relax to change the diameter of the pupil. The radial muscles are arranged like the spokes of a bicycle tire, while circular muscles are arranged in the form of ring. Both of these muscles they work opposite to each other. That means when one type contracts, the other one relaxes. So our eyes are exposed to different kinds of light. In case of bright light, the circular muscles they contract and as they are arranged in the form of a ring. So it constricts the diameter. That means the diameter of pupil is reduced. The size of the pupil is reduced. But in case of dim light, radial muscles contract, putting a stretch on the size of pupil and pupil dilates or it gets enlarged to allow maximum amount of light to enter the eye. The lens of the eye can change its shape to focus an object at different distances. This is called accommodation or adjustment. The lens is attached to ciliary muscles through suspensory ligaments, and change in these two structures is involved in the process of accommodation. For a nearby object, muscles of the ciliary body contract, suspensory ligaments slacken, lens becomes more convex or rounded, and image is formed on retina as is obvious in this diagram. Here you can see the light rays passing through the lens and then they are focused onto retina. The shape of the lens is more convex or more rounded. But for an object which is at a distance, the ciliary muscles relax while suspensory ligaments become taut. This stretches the lens and it becomes thin and less convex, and as a result, image is formed on retina, and this is obvious in this diagram. This table gives you an overview of main parts of the eye and their function in making adjustment or accommodation. So for a distant object, ciliary muscles relax, suspensory ligaments stretch, and lens becomes thin or less convex. While an object which is near to the eye, ciliary muscles contract, suspensory ligaments slacken, lens becomes fat or more convex. There are two types of common disorders of the eye. The elongation of eyeball results in myopia or short-sightedness. Such persons are not able to see distant objects clearly. The image of distant object is formed in front of retina, so these people can see clearly the near objects, but far objects cannot be seen clearly. This problem can be rectified by using a concave lens. So in this figure you can see um, image is clear on the cell phone which is near to the eye, but the people behind this cell phone, they are not clearly visible to the person. Other type of disorder is long-sightedness or hypermetropia. It happens when eyeball shortens. Such persons are not able to see near objects clearly. The image is formed behind the retina, and convex lens is used to rectify this problem. So as you see over here, the people behind the cell phone are clearly visible, but they cannot be seen clearly. The image is blurred while looking through the cell phone. This is a comparison of both the conditions. You can well understand over here. As we discussed earlier, these disorders can be rectified by the use of different lenses. Myopia can be rectified by use of concave lens, and hypermetropia or long-sightedness is rectified by the use of convex lens in the form of glasses or spectacles. Color blindness is a genetic disorder. It occurs when you are unable to see colors in the normal way, and it is also known as color deficiency. It happens when someone cannot distinguish between certain colors, and this usually happens between greens and reds, and occasionally blues. These charts give you an idea whether a person is colorblind or not, and you can find yourself if you are able to read the numbers written in these charts. If you are able to read them, please do mention them in the comment section. As we are continuing with the disorders of the eye, night blindness is a deficiency disorder. It may occur due to the deficiency of vitamin A, which is involved in the production of rhodopsin, the pigment present in rods. Rods are sensitive to dim light, so deficiency of vitamin A leads to poor night vision or night blindness. And these two pictures give you a comparison of a scene in the dark or at night. A person with normal vision can look a bit clearly as compared to a person who is suffering from night blindness. The main symptoms of night blindness is trouble seeing in the dark. The person can see normally during the daytime when the light is bright, but with the darkness, the person cannot see clearly. However, this can take many forms. It can be difficulty seeing well after transitioning from an area with lots of light to an area with dim light. It can be trouble seeing while driving at night due to darkness on the road with intermittent bright headlights, or the problem seeing furniture or objects in a dark room at night when there is little light, difficulty recognizing faces in dim or low light, and needing more light to perform routine tasks. These all could be the symptoms of night blindness. This was something about the eyes as receptor organs. Hope you have understood the structure of the eye and how different parts help you to see the beautiful world around you. Do read your textbook carefully, and still if you have some questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. So till the next video, Allah Hafiz and good luck.